Hi, everybody. Happy Wednesday. It's hump day. Super excited anyway, because it's hump day. But also, again, I love seeing all of you here. So thanks for joining me again for another oh gosh, another day of discussing reality. I like to look at it like that for some reason because I think that we've lost some sense of normalcy. And so anyway, before we start getting into it, thanks so much for joining me today. I hope you've had a great part of your first half of your week, and I hope things are going great for you. I know the world's a little bit messy right now, but I think first and foremost, I want to remind you to take care of yourself, okay? Because without taking care of yourself, we can't take care of the rest of the world. Remember how they tell you that on the airplane? Yeah, I used to just sort of tune it out. But one day I just realized they tell you to put your air mask on first for a reason, right? Because you can't help anybody else if you're struggling and you don't have any oxygen. So I guess I'm going to use that analogy. Put your air mask on first, okay? Because if you don't put your air mask on first, you can't help everybody else. And what I mean by that is mental health, taking breaks from the internet, doing things with your family, going out and having picnics and enjoying the weather and enjoying nature. And you would be shocked at how much better it makes you feel. I want to let you know. Oh, thanks everybody for the beautiful messages. Thanks. I do appreciate that. And thanks everybody from all over the world joining us here. You know, I do try to encourage dialogue with these lives. It's hard because I have to try to read, and I think I'm going to try to figure it out. Seth should be here today, but I think I'm going to try to figure it out so I can add Seth as the producer here, and maybe he can help me um, sort of navigate this without it being so sort of all over the place because I'm trying to read these as well as like stay on target here. So, but with that, it kind of helps me. It kind of keeps my brain like that, right? Being 61. So, being 61 is also kind of a gift. I want to let you know. I get a lot of ageism from the young generation, especially young trans people. I get a lot of ageism, which is quite fascinating because I never thought about growing old as a trans person, right? I didn't really think about that. I always thought I would never live past pretty much 30, but here I am at 61, and to make it to 61 as someone, well, thank you. Thank you, Miss Drool. But, to make it to 61, a guy like me who's been on testosterone for 30 years, who, had a lot of struggles early on in my life, I just can't even believe I'm here at 61. It's shocking. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know what 61 feels like, but, hey, Germany, thanks for joining us. But, here's what the deal is. I don't feel 61, if that makes sense. I don't feel it. I feel very young, and I feel very, on some level, I'm kind of immature for my age, and I totally know that. But I take that as a gift as well. Sometimes being a little immature, or is immature and naive the same thing? I'm not really sure. But it kind of is a gift sometimes because you don't have to be so locked into to things when you're a little bit distanced yourself from just being so black and white about the world. And so I think naivety sometimes, and immaturity and naivety sometimes can be a good thing because it just gives you a different kind of yeah, an inner child. I think. And I also want to say this, as a guy who grew up as a girl, right? I didn't get to have a childhood as a little boy. I didn't have to have that. But that being said, I'm living my little boyness now as an adult, which is much better, I think, than if I would have done that as a child, because I think I would have missed out on all the great things I did have as a child. I want to keep reiterating to all of you out there, I didn't have a bad childhood. I did not. Contrary to what other trans people might say, or a trans adult saying, I wish I would have transitioned as a child. I don't actually wish I would have transitioned as a child. I don't. And that means a lot because even though I struggled, everything you see right here is my choice, me. I can't blame anybody. I can't push it on anybody. I can't say I made the wrong choice without saying it was my choice. And I really want you all to hear this, especially parents who are struggling with their kid claiming to be trans or something to that effect. You know, you're going to make that choice for the child. If that child says they're trans and you decide to go along with that child, you as the adult are making that choice. And I'm telling you this as a transsexual person who did grow up feeling different, who did grow up not necessarily feeling like a girl, not necessarily fitting into the girl things. I made this choice on my own. So I cannot blame my parents. And I have an amazing relationship with my parents today. So I just want to keep kind of putting this little bug in your ear, parents. You will make the choice for your child. What does that mean later on in life? Your child can struggle in their dysphoria. They 100% can do that. Whatever person is telling you they can't, they're lying to you. I am a 31-year transition transsexual. There's not very many of us out here, okay? They might be out here hiding, but there's none like myself speaking the way I am speaking with a huge amount. None. Let me think about that. Very few, if any, as long as me, especially trans men. I think I'm the oldest transition trans man having this position here today. So who are you going to listen to? Are you going to listen to somebody who transitioned yesterday? Or are you going to listen to someone who actually has, right, a lot of experience here? And I'm not telling you that I want to make the choice for you. I don't want to make that choice for you. But I want to give you a different perspective from a person who did live as a child with some form of dysphoria. There's no doubt, who lived in that body, who went through female puberty, who had an amazing, I did not have a bad childhood. I didn't. The things that started bad for me were later on in life, in high school, in the next level of my life, where I was old enough to make the choice to transition, right? That's what I really, hi France, thanks for joining us. That's what I want you all to hear from me, who are parents struggling with your kids. This is really important. With anything in your life, with anything that you're struggling in your life, take a second, sit with it. With anything, if you rush it, you're going to screw it up. There's just no doubt in my, I mean, that's an actual proven fact. If you rush and do something fast, you're probably going to fuck it up, right? But if you slow down a little bit, right? If you slow down, let's just slow down here. Let's watch little Timmy and little Susie. Let's watch them. Let's see how they sort of interact in the world. Let's call them Timmy if they're Susie. My parents called me Buck. It wasn't an issue at all. It was totally okay. That was my nickname, right? And on some level, they did socially transition me, but they didn't. I wasn't transitioning. They just gave me a nickname and they let me wear boys' clothes and they bought me G.I. Joes and they, you know what I mean? They just let it sort of naturally progress. This is what, hey, Sweden, thank you for joining us. I just really want all of, yeah, the age of instant gratification, 100%, friend, 100%. And this has to be part of the problem. We're trying so hard to not make a mistake with these kids, right? We're trying to so hard to say, "Oh, I don't want to mess up." Oh, but listen to me here, parent. There is no perfect answer for this. Every one of your children out there are different. Every one of them are struggling on different levels with different things, but I'm begging you, take some time and watch it and see if your child is really seriously dysphoric. You cannot make that choice in one session with a therapist. You cannot make that choice with a doctor telling you your child will off themselves if you don't give them blockers. That is not true. Please don't listen to that. That is gaslighting you into a space that you possibly might regret as a parent. And as a parent, I don't want to see you in that space. It would be horrifying to be a parent and make the choice of transitioning the child, and then the child isn't trans and says when they're older, why did you do that to me? Why did you let me do that? Why did you not push back on me? Wouldn't you rather have that? Wouldn't you rather have your child say to you, thank you for pushing back on me? Thank you for not letting me transition when everybody else was pushing it on me. I will almost guarantee you that's what your child is gonna say to you when they grow up enough to be mature enough to make the choice on their own. They're gonna thank you, as opposed to if you give them that medication and they will change their minds. I think here's what I wanna say. I think I think that there is more of an opportunity for your child to be mad at you for transitioning them as a child than if you don't transition them as a child and they grow up to become an adult. I think that they're going to be more happy with that choice than if you transition them as a child. I will tell you that I think making the choice not to is the appropriate thing, and letting them figure it out until they got to be old enough to when they're 18, they can do whatever they want. You have no say so in that. No say so at all. And that's the part where the parent and the child have now crossed into a space of independence. The adult and the child are like this right now, and your child is relying on you. I know you know that. I don't need to tell you, but they're relying on you to make choices for them that are good choices. That's what parenting is. Parenting is making good choices for your child. For instance, should I give you an example of me and my kid? So here's this thing that happens at our school. Okay. So you can't be late. And we live about 20 minutes from his school. We changed schools and he lives over the hill. Right. So every morning, mostly mom takes him to school. Okay. So that's about a 20-minute drive. But sometimes there's traffic and sometimes there's an accident. And sometimes every single parent is late. We all parent here. We all know this, right? But sometimes we're a minute or two late dropping him off, and he enters class a minute or two late. And what happens when he's a minute or two late? He gets in trouble. This school is hardcore about being on time. So he's late and he gets docked for that and he gets humiliated on some level. But whose fault is it for him being late? Me. It's my fault as the parent because I'm supposed to be getting him there on time. It's not his fault. Yet here we are being 1 minute late because we cannot necessarily understand traffic. We can't understand what's going to happen today when we're going over that hill, all of these things. But we really try as parents to get him there on time. But sometimes we're late. So I have an issue. I'm going to tell you right now, I have an issue with this rule at school. How dare they make us 1 minute late and the whole world it takes a shit on us, right? Like we're in so much trouble. We get letters from the school. We get you're docked. You're in trouble. Your kid's going to get in trouble. I'm like, we're a minute late. We're 2 minutes late. What? That's totally insane. So here I am in front of my kiddo, and we're talking. Me and mom are talking in front of him. We really don't have a lot of secrets in this household. Of course, we don't talk about certain things, but this we're talking about him. And I said, Jonah, it's just not fair that they tell you in 1 minute that you're late. And then I asked him, dude, do they humiliate you when you walk in the class? He's like, no, they don't. I said, okay, I just want to make sure they're not like pointing you out because that's actually not cool. So then I say to him, well, dude, it's just not cool that we only have a minute there. And he's like, yeah, I said, because look at all the circumstances we're dealing with. And he's like, yeah, I know. I said, so I'm going to actually make a complaint, dude. And I'm going to say, you've got to give us a 15-minute bumper, right? Bumper. We need a 15-minute bumper, every parent, because here's the other deal. When we drop them off at school, every other parent who's late is driving crazy. That to me is more dangerous than being late, right? Because every parent is freaking out, trying to get there as fast as they can, pushing their kid out of the car, get to class before. That causes more problems as far as I'm concerned, because now cars are going everywhere. People are driving crazy. Accidents are going to happen. Even a kid could get run over because every parent is stressed out about being late. So I guess what I'm trying to say here is it's my responsibility as his parent to show him that being late is not okay because it's not. I have issues with time. So even when I'm a minute late, I'm sweating and freaking out, right? But also, it's my job as a parent to teach him that he's allowed to say, hey, wait a minute, that's not fair. How can we have a conversation about this? And how can we make it for a 15-minute bumper? It's why I brought him into the conversation, because I sort of want to show him about how it is to be an adult and right and how adults and kids interact with each other. But it's my job as his parent to make sure he's on time. But why sometimes it's not that way? I hope I'm making some sense here, right? So I guess getting back to the kids and transitioning, it's a decision that is being laid on your lap as a parent, and I don't necessarily think that that's okay. I think it's messed up. I think it's messed up that you parents are being shoved into a corner with your child who says they're trans, right? I'm gonna tell you that you should wait. Every parent who dealing with some form of trans kid, wait, 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 wait. Call them Sammy if they want. Who cares? Some people are against social transitioning. I'm not. I'm not. I'm not at all. I do think it helps the kid deal with whatever's going on there, and hopefully they'll grow out of it. What's the number one thing we want for these kids? I think we're all going to be in agreement here. What's the number one thing we want for these kids? Not trans kids. Kids. What do we want for kids? We want them to be happy. We want them to grow up solid. We want them to feel loved. We want them to feel heard. We want them to learn to make mistakes, right? Making mistakes is hugely important in the growth of a child. I don't see that anymore. I see this idea that my kid can't make a mistake, or my kid can't fall, or my kid, can't do this or that. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? You can't live through your child, I guess. You can't expect things from your child just because you expect them. And that is why I'm telling you that a lot of these kids are struggling with something, and we're equating it to being trans. Oh, thank you, Dina. That's so sweet of you. Thank you, Dana. Thank you, Dana. My eyes are so bad. I got to go to the eye doctor. They're getting worse. My kid survived puberty and has not to transition as an adult. I was strongly pressured to transition them, but waiting was the right decision. Thank you, Dana. I so appreciate you speaking up like that. I know. I feel you, friend. I feel you, parents. I don't even can't imagine. But you did the right thing. I'm telling you, as a transsexual older person, you did the right thing. You're an awesome parent. I think all parents feel the way you do, but they're being persuaded and they're being told these weird lies that if you don't do it, your kid is gonna blah 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 blah, which is bull, BS, bull. How do they know that? Where do you think they got this statistic that if you don't transition your child, they will off themselves? Where do you think they got that from? Because I don't see it happening. It's never happened. Maybe one kid did something, but kids, plural, are not doing that. That is actually not true. I mean, the fact that I even have to say it is yucky, and I don't like to say it. Where are the kids, right? Where are the kids that off themselves? They're not here and they're not coming. You want to know what kids are going to off themselves? I'll tell you. Detransitioners. What about those kids? How come no one cares about those kids? How come we only care about trans kids? What about detrans kids? And how come we're not using them as a sort of example of why a young person cannot make that choice? Why are we not using them? I know why, but I want to hear from you. I want to know why. I think we probably all know why. Because it proves everything we're saying here today. It proves it. They're proof. I'm 50 and I want to off myself. Oh, okay. Okay, friend. You know what? Hold up. I gotta just look at this if I'm reading it right. My eyes are not good. Carolyn says, I'm 50 and I want to off. Okay, friend, if you need something, please, can you send me a message through Seth, Buck Angel Management, Buck Angel MGT at Gmail. Okay, I'll get you some help. I'll get you some help. I have a lot of connections. I can get you help, friend. You need to talk to somebody right now. I don't want you to feel this way. And obviously, you're reaching out for help right now, or you wouldn't write that. Okay? You wouldn't write that. So I don't know why you feel that way. And none of us here know why you feel that way, but all of us have a lot of compassion and empathy for you. It's why I brought you up on stage. Anybody know this person? We have to get this person some help. So, Carolyn, I have a lot of resources for you. If you want to send me a message, I'll get you in contact with them. Okay. And I'm super, super, very sad that you feel that way because you don't have to do that. There's so much for you out there. Seriously. So that's what I want to say to you. Okay. So reach out to me and I'll get you some help and I will help you find the space that you don't want to feel that way anymore. Okay. Because you don't have to feel that way. You don't. You do not. And so when I'm talking about kids feeling this way, this is different than a 50-year-old feeling this way. Okay. You have 50 years of life and a lot of things happen to you and a lot of things built up with you. And adults start to have to deal with things that aren't comfortable. And this is what happens when that happens. But a child doesn't have enough life experience. Some kids do feel that way, but it is a very rare occurrence. And it is not necessarily because they're trans. Okay. So I want to get that out there too. Kids are struggling with all kinds of comorbidities, depression, anxiety, peer pressure. Let's just talk about peer pressure, kids. Come on. Peer pressure is massive, massive. Hey, Danny, thank you so much, friend. Leela Alcorn was a trans kid who offed themselves, but she was subjected to conversion therapy and just denied HRT as a minor. We can't conflict. That's right. That's right. That's what I'm saying to you. There's going to be a kid. I'm not denying that. I hope you know that. I'm not denying there's always going to be a kid who wants to do that and who might succeed in doing that. But the way they're making it sound is that any kid who's trans who doesn't get help will off themselves. That is not true. That is actually not true. That's the basis of what these doctors and grifter therapists or grifter doctors are telling parents. That is, I want to know where the stats are. I've been asking for those stats forever and no one seems to be able to, okay? No one seems to be able to sort of help me with that because it's not true. If it was true, somebody would have sent me the stats already. It's not true. So, yeah. So everyone, thank you so much for giving Carolyn some love. Thank you. She needs some love right now. I'm sure it's sad to feel that way. I once felt that way. I once felt that way to off myself, and I was I think 17 when I went into a psychiatric ward, and I had a lot of stuff going on at that time. I wouldn't say it was just gender dysphoria. I would say I had a lot of stuff going on. I was dealing with my sexuality. I was a pretty high ranking runner, but I was also a pretty gnarly alcoholic. So, at 17, I was drinking like a pig. So, that took me out big time. Seriously. So that's what I'm trying to tell you. I was a kid too. I was a kid too. And I dealt with a lot of stuff back in the 70s that nobody could understand. And I actually had to go to a psychiatric ward. So I have been in that space, but it wasn't just my gender dysphoria that was creating that for me. There was a whole other lot of stuff going on for me as a teenager. And if I could have gotten help for that, I might not have wanted to off myself. The reason why I wanted to off myself, I'll give you this little story and then I want to move on to trenders. But here's what happened to me. I was kind of a loner. I was kind of an angry young person. I was a fist fighter, right? And I was in one school and got into a fist fight. Remember, I was a female, okay? I was a very masculine female in the 70s. It was not easy. And I was an athlete. Anyway, long story short, I got into fights at school. I got kicked out of one school and I had to go to another school at the whole other side of the valley. And I'm 16, okay? And I'm shy and I'm withdrawn and I'm not a very good communicator like I am today. I'm like a different person. And there I am having to take a bus by myself at 16, which sounds so stupid, but I was shy and I just couldn't even be around people. Long story short, I had to take a bus an hour and a half each way to school because I got kicked out and my parents were pissed and they made me take the bus to school. And anyway, long story short, I didn't have any friends. I did not have any friends in this new high school. Okay. And as a person who was not comfortable with my own self, I think I was struggling with my sexuality. I liked girls. I didn't know how to talk about it. I was just uncomfortable on so many levels. And the only thing that made me even want to go to school was track because it was what I excelled in. And as a young person who's getting praised, I got praised up and down for my running because I was so good at it. But I had to go to a new school, which created a lot of problems for me. I didn't know anybody. I didn't know how to make friends. I was not good academically. So I was embarrassed to go to class and I didn't want to go to class. So I didn't go to class and I would ditch school and I would just show up for track. And I ate lunch by myself and I was at recess by myself and I came home by myself and I went to school by myself. And I'm telling you, it wasn't fun. That really did affect me and it affects me to this day. And it really, I remember being that lonely person who didn't connect with people. And it wasn't until I started to run on the track team at this school and people saw the gift that I had, did people want to be my friend because I excelled so high. You know, I was sponsored by Adidas, by Nike, New Balance at the time. I was like being sought after by track clubs. I was a big deal runner. Okay. So, what I mean by that is that's the thing that gave me the praise. I got the petting for the running. Which on some level, did that help me to move forward because I was being praised for this? I wasn't being appraised for academics. I was being appraised for sports. It's lonely when you feel different. That's what I'm trying to get to you. It's lonely when you feel different. So as a young person, when you feel different and you find your tribe, you sort of prescribe to that way of being. And today I see a lot of these young people prescribing to this trans identity because they are lonely like me. They are little bucks and they're not necessarily trans. They're just lonely, they're going through something, they're maybe having bad academics, they're maybe not having a good home life, they're maybe drinking alcohol, they're maybe having to deal with their sexuality, maybe some are dysphoric, we don't know yet. But what I'm trying to say here is that kids flock to other kids that are like them. We all know that. I think probably a lot of you in this room were doing the same thing when you were a youngster. Maybe some of you didn't deal with feeling different. Maybe some of you were just okay with yourself. But you have to understand that I think a lot of these kids today are finding themselves on TikTok because they feel that those people are just like them. And you know that we flock to what we are comfortable with. We want to get, yeah, it's a tribe. It's a tribe, Jake. That's right. So this tribe thing is part of the trans trenders. Trans trenders are people who aren't trans. They're not. They're using trans as an identity. And because of this trans trend, they've opened their arms. This is the TikTok or Discord or Reddit, whatever. This is the trans trender TikTok Discord. Look, their arms are open like this to anyone and everyone who wants to be trans. Look at how does that make you feel? How does that make you feel? Like you're wanted, like you're part of a tribe and a family. Look, I'm asking you to come here. It feels loving. It feels like I found people like me. This is what we must understand when we are looking at what is going on with these young people. We can't just be mad at them. We can't just be angry at them. We also have to look at why they're doing this. Why are so many young people wanting to be trans, because that's the key word here. They want to be trans. Remember that. It's not they are. Trans is not a feeling. Remember this as well. I'm telling you, I'm being very honest with you all here. Trans is not a feeling. Trans is as a disorder. It is a, a disassociation with your actual physical being. That's a disorder. They've done us a huge disservice by pretending like it's not a disorder. That's the problem right there. They're pretending like it's not, like it's just something. Well, what is it? If it's not a disorder, what is it? That's what I want to know. If it's not a disorder, oh, thanks for checking in on Carolyn. I told you guys are so great. You're so great. That's why I really just love being here with you all. You actually do care because you're literally asking where's Carolyn. That just says that you're paying attention and that you actually care about that person and the way that they feel. Thank you, friend. Thank you for doing that. Thank you all for being so loving to that person. It doesn't feel good to feel that way, and that person is crying out for help because they wouldn't come on here and say that. They just wouldn't. They're looking, they need help. And they're 50 years old. So, it's hard when you're older and you sort of come to these terms with what's been going on with you for such a long time. But I really believe that you cannot make that choice until you've lived some life. Let me see this butterfly. I want to see this. My older daughter thought she was a trans boy for 2 years. I wonder how old they are. Now, extremely feminine, she identifies as just trans. Interesting. What does that mean, butterfly? What does that mean? That they used to think they were a trans boy, but now they're extremely feminine and they identify as trans. That's the part that's confusing to me. What's the difference between being a trans boy and trans? Thank you all. Thanks for checking in on Carolyn. She might have left, but maybe she sent me an email. If she sends me an email, I'll let you all know about it. So what's the difference? Trans is not an identity, Ted. You're right. It's not. It's become an identity. This is the scary part. It's become. She's 19 and autistic. Okay. Thank you for being so upfront with us. We appreciate you, Butterfly. She's 19, kid, autistic. What about this? What about this exact thing right here is part of the problem? Autistic. And not being autistic isn't the problem, but the target market. The target market. 19 and autistic. I'd love to know how she identifies as trans at 19. Does she have the pronoun thing down or is she okay with being called she? It's fascinating to me. I believe it. I believe that this is the target market. Autistic and 19. Easily manipulated because as far as I know and what I've learned about autism and autistic people, right? Getting buffed to fight Blossom. Blossom is a joke. So, you know, 19 is you're still vulnerable. And autism, everything is black and white in an autistic space. And she's okay with she. Look, she is okay with she. So what part of her is trans? Could you ask her that? Could you ask her that? Because I'd be really interested to know what part of her is trans. If she's a biological female, she used to identify as a trans boy. She's feminine now, but now she just identifies as trans. You see? You see, you're actually helping me here a lot. I appreciate it. This is what they are doing. They're using it as an identity. It is not an identity. And that puts us where we are today. So here, let me see this person who's autistic. Thank you, amazing Maisie. I'm autistic and could not cope with change. The changes of puberty were unbearable. If I had been told I didn't need to have periods and breasts, I would not have hurt any disadvantages. You see that? Thank you, friend. This is what we need to understand about autism, okay? Because that's the target market. Okay, wait a minute here, Butterfly. Butterfly says, she says her gender is mythical creatures. and it keeps going. Thank you, butterfly. And it keeps going. So she identifies with mythical creatures. How is that trans? You see what I'm trying to tell you all here? I know you do. They have co-opted what trans is, and now it's whatever. I don't even know what it is. I have no idea. Why would somebody want to be a mythical creature other than the fact that they're not living in a reality-based space? And I don't mean that in any disrespect to you, butterfly. I'm sure you're doing the best job you can do as a parent. But these are the issues I have with this trans thing. We're giving these kids a false sense of reality and a false sense of something, of self. Wouldn't you say that's a false sense of self? That's what I want to know too, Change. Change just is asking my question. What is the connection to trans and mythical creatures and anime? What is it? What is it? It's childish is what it is. So that says to me, oh, if you look at the type of the age group, 19, right? Autistic, it's a very specific group of people who are creating anime, mythical creatures. My kiddo who's 11 is into anime. 11. We're talking about 19-year-olds. So so that's also kind of immature. And as you know, I started this off with my own immaturity on some level, but that's really immature. Like I know the difference between, excuse me, I know the difference between being trans and a mythical creature. She feels alienated. Oh, hold on, butterfly. I got you here. One sec. She feels alienated. Wait, where'd you go? Oh man, this thing isn't working. I saw what you said and I lost it. She feels what? I lost you. Oh, here it is. Okay. Okay. She feels alienated from being human. She thinks she's not good at being human. The autistic clinic encouraged it. Wait, are you all butterfly? Are you okay with that? Do you actually think that's healthy? Do Hey, Chris, you're never late. Nobody's ever late, just so you know. Hey, wait a minute here. I'm actually really asking this in a very sensitive way. I don't mean this, and I hope that you don't feel disrespected. And I think you know me, and I'm not disrespecting you. But I'm shocked to hear. I'm shocked to hear that the clinic's encouraging her autistic daughter to take on this idea of not being human. How? How? What? It's not healthy. Thank you, butterfly. That clinic needs to be reported. If you could actually send me uh some information, I would highly appreciate it. Highly. That is not healthy. I, I, I'm actually appalled and disgusted by that, butterfly. Where did you go? I've been okay, here. Let's see if how we can help you. Wait, sorry, that wasn't the one I wanted to bring up. This one. It's been horrifying to deal with. I take no offense. Thank you. Reach out to me, Buck Angel MGT, okay, management, Buck Angel Management at Gmail. Anyone reach out to me there, okay? Oh, this isn't good. This is not good. And these are this is the shit I want to expose. They're literally messing with your kid. It makes me very mad for you. Okay, it makes me very mad for you. So I don't want to be mad. So let's move to some fun. Let's move to some fun, kids. Seriously, not good. And I'm not happy for you. And I feel very upset for you. And I don't know what these people think they're doing, but they're messing with these kids. Who are these clinicians? Can anyone just get a degree? I'm kind of shocked. Yeah, you're right. I do need to drop my email. I don't know. Seth's here. Let me. Usually Seth does it. Here, let me just do it. He might just be late. Here, I'm putting the email here. Okay. So here's how everybody can reach me. Okay. There you go. Okay. It's also on my the description of my channel. The email is there. Okay. So I want to move on to these. I want to move on to these reactions because I've just been enjoying doing these with you because this whole community is absurd. This whole trans nonsense is absurd. So, when I was about 5 or so years ago, I started hearing this term trans trender. And I'm older. I've transitioned such a long time ago. I didn't even want to get involved in the young people's fight, right? Because that's what I felt like it was. I felt like it was a bunch of young people just, "Wah, I'm more trans than you. You're more trans," and then that's just young people stuff. Okay, so I let it go. I was like trans trender, true scum, whatever else nonsense you're making up. So for reference, a true scum is me. A true scum, I think, is a trans medicalist, which I guess I'm considered a trans medicalist, which is somebody who believes that you can only have gender dysphoria. You have to have gender dysphoria to be trans, which is what I know, and that I believe in medical transition to live as a man. That's what I believe. I'm called a true scum by the young generation. Then there's trans trenders, which are people who are trans who are not really trans, who don't have gender dysphoria, who use trans as an identity, who self-ID themselves. That's a trans trender. They're not really trans. But oh, hey, Mary, nice to see you, friend. None of my autistic sons' behavioral therapists have degrees. They're getting college credit for, what world do we live in? Nobody's a professional anymore. Everyone's in training using your kids. This is the world we live in. There is no professionals. They're literally reprogramming everybody, and we're all learning as we go along. Just so you know, none of this shit is real. I mean, wow. Fucking hell, man. I am so lucky I transitioned a long time ago. This is so sick. The fact that we have affirmation therapists, it's sick. It's sick and fucked up. And we're gonna fix this shit, you guys. Together, we're gonna fix this shit. No way. No way should that ever be happening. You're not gonna use my kids to fucking get your school points or whatever the hell that is, and then tell my kid that it's normal not to feel like a human, so you can completely identify with a mythical creature. I will actually report you to whatever place I need to report you to, and I will snatch my kid out of your clinic, and I will report your clinic, and I will picket in front of your clinic. I mean, what the heck? We need to shut all this crap down. By the way, Planned Parenthood. Let's make that the next live. Here we go. Let me just pick one. So, as you know, trans trenders are people who are not trans, who are taking on the identity of trans when trans is not an identity. Trans is a disorder. So, are you all ready? Let's pull out a couple of these. At least Drew is part of it. Totally. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And how I knew it was immature because the young people were calling me true scum. So this one fascinates me. And this person I fully believe is not trans and fully believe there's something going on. Okay. So hold on one second.
And how do they?
Hold on one second here. Okay. Watch this.
Blockers and how do they? What are hormone blockers and how do they affect your body? Well,
I'm sorry, everybody.
Hormone blockers are a series of injections and or an implant that you can have put in your arm that temporarily pauses puberty.
Oh, what do you mean temporarily pauses puberty?
For people assigned male at birth, puberty blockers will decrease facial hair and body hair growth, prevent your voice from getting deeper, and will limit eggplant growth.
Wow.
And for people assigned female at birth, hormone blockers will prevent boobie growth and getting your period. No more periods. Hey!
What?
However, once you stop taking puberty blockers, your body will then go into puberty, and that's why it's only temporary.
What? First off, everything that person said is a complete total lie. Secondly, they're called puberty blockers. Do you all notice that? They keep trying to say it's pausing. If it was, hey, Michael, thanks for being a member. If it was actually paused, they would call it puberty pausing. They call it puberty blocking. You do not start after. It's why they block it, so you don't have it, you dumbass. Secondly, everything that person said is a complete total lie. There are so many bad things that come with blocking puberty. My God, you watch the amount of people that they put this stuff on. You watch in the next 10 years, how many of these people are going to have lawsuits, but they're all going to be destroyed. I'm trying to stop these kids from getting destroyed before they have to make lawsuits. It's so gross that we're even allowing that misinformation to be put out there. That's a transgender targeting kids. Who do you think that person is targeting? They're targeting kids. How is that possibly okay? I mean, in any other world we live in, they would never let something like that happen. Misinformation. Oh, it's just mind-blowing to me. Okay, so here's another one. Oh, this one. This one's really me and this person are battling it out right now. This person said some insane stuff to me, but because I outed their nonsense. Okay, sorry, I'm talking too much. Watch.
And doctors need more training and less ignorance.
Hold on. This person thinks they know everything. They don't know anything. Okay, here.
When it comes to trans rights and it comes to gender affirming care. So let's talk about this, because Barbara started this conversation with like, oh, it's not so bad to be a woman. And obviously it turned into this. Barbara is basically saying, if I were to treat you for anything, it would be as a female. Well, let me tell you something, Barbara, you shouldn't be a doctor, period. What? I wouldn't trust you with my children. I wouldn't trust you with my life, because here's the thing, Barbara. I'm a trans guy. I am in the process of transitioning. I've had surgery. I'm taking testosterone. It's been just over a year that I've been on T, and any doctor that knew their shit would know that that completely transforms your body, that my body parts are no longer female, not even biological female.
I'm done.
Because my biology has changed. My body chemistry has changed because of hormones. Hormones are what create that biology in the first place.
Okay. Enough. I can't. Oh my God. Okay, hold up. Hold up here. Wow, just wow. Okay, everybody. I hope you got as good a laugh as I did. Okay, that person actually says they're a trans man. What? Wait a minute here. Are you making an effort? That is an actual biological female who is transitioning to 2 = 5, who's transitioning to be a man. And oh man, then goes on to talk about she doesn't have a female body. Yeah, you do. I have a female body, and I've been on testosterone for 30 years. You've been on testosterone for 1 year, and all your body parts changed. And I'm a trans man, and I know more than the doctor. So basically what she was saying, and I'm saying she because she does not deserve to be called he, number one. Number two, spreading so much dangerous misinformation about what it means to be a trans man that I have worked for many years to fix and change our medical system in order for us to have proper health care. And this one is going to come and tell me that I don't know what I'm talking about. What? And that if we stood next to each other, which one would be called he and which one would be called she? Get yourself together, missy, because first off, no one's going to take you seriously. Secondly, you're lying. Your body parts did not change in 1 year. That's not true. Thirdly, they're not going to change in 30 years. They're still going to be female body parts. And we need the doctors to know that in order for them to help us. You tell me that you don't need to go to the gynecologist. Did you know the gynecologist is for female body parts? Just so you know, I worked hard to get gynecologists to look at us and to take us in. Guess what, Missy? You're not going to have to deal with that because I'm the one and many guys before me who went to the gynecologist and made a buffer for you. And now you think you're going to come in and just destroy the whole system that we made for ourselves so that we didn't feel uncomfortable going to the effing gynecologist. So you don't get to be called he until you learn. Secondly, shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. You're ruining the whole thing. That's why that person started to call me names and just went like so haywire because I outed them on that I did a reaction video on that nonsense. That person is insane. And get out of here. Do your work before you can even sit here. Just because you have a TikTok with 50,000 followers doesn't mean you know anything. You're 1 year. 1 year. Sit down and listen to the people who've been doing the work that you're actually destroying. This is the crap that pisses me off. That's a transgender. I don't care if you have top surgery. I don't care if you're taking hormones. Have you been diagnosed with gender dysphoria? No, because you're the one who thinks you don't need gender dysphoria to be trans. Good luck with you. Come back to me in 5 years, little one. Come back in 5 years and let's see where you really are. Oh, these people. You see how mad I get? Because this means something to me, people. This is hard effing work. We struggle in this space. I struggle. Every day I effing struggle. I have to wake up every morning with this. And she's making a joke out of it. That's why I'm pissed. And I will not tolerate this nonsense. Watch this one. You got Trampa pissed. All of you trenders pissed. You're not taking the space, just so you know. Watch this.
If you look at Buck Angel,
this one hates me.
And very sad. Really good example of this is Buck Angel. If you look at Buck Angel's page, it's literally just him attacking trans women, trans kids, and non-binary people. And it's really scary and it's really sad when people are using the privilege that they have within their community in order to perpetuate violence on that community. It doesn't make any sense to me. But as an ally, it's really important that you're critically thinking.
Oh, wait, don't everybody forget. I'm perpetuating violence on the trans community, and I'm all after trans women and this one.
Following who you're listening to and what they're actually advocating for. If you have a trans person who is advocating against trans rights, that might not be the best person to listen to.
So now I'm advocating against trans rights. You see these people? Me, who's been doing this for X amount of years before these people were even born. I guarantee you. I've been around before both of these people were born. Okay. And now I'm lateral violence against the community. She's telling people not to follow me, whatever that means. She's telling people that I'm toxic, violent, transphobic. This woman who thinks they're a trans person.
Reminder, trans men are real men, trans women are real women, trans children deserve gender affirming care, and non-binary people are trans and they are completely valid. And if you're a white trans guy, please be extra careful with what you're perpetuating.
Oh my God, she's actually white. And she's literally saying, what does color have to do with this, little one? Also, do you notice what she has here? What is that? Is that blush, little trans man? Is that blush going on there? And what's this? What's this little thing here that's black? What is that?
I was out and I was read as a trans man for a long time.
No, you weren't. Do you actually think this person was read as a trans man? Do you actually think that?
I found myself replicating those things in order to keep myself safe. I get how that progression can happen, but please, please stop it before it becomes Buck Angel level. If you see another video made about me by Buck Angel, don't send it to me. You don't need to. I really don't need to see how violent he is. And I don't need that directed at me. So if you see it,
Ooh, someone's running scared from Buck. Send it all to her. Send it all to her. Inundate her with it. Because I just don't need to see the violence of Buck. What you don't want to see, little one, is the truth. What you don't want to see, little one, is an older transsexual telling you to sit down and shut up because you don't know nothing about nothing about nothing. You've changed your identity 5 times. I've watched you 5 times. Now you're non-binary, where before you were a trans man, and before that you were genderqueer, and before that you were I don't even know. So sit down, little one. Send it all to her. Send it all. She's a fake. She's not trans. She's riding on the coattails of everyone that's done the work to make us have a comfortable life. That's the nonsense I'm not going to put up with anymore. How dare she call me violent? How dare you call me violent? You have no idea what violence is. Let me remind all you how old I am and where I've come from. I used to walk the streets here in West Hollywood and get my ass physically beat. Want to know what violence is? And you're calling me violent? Why? Because I'm passionate? Because I'm calling you out? Because I raise my voice? Because I won't tolerate your insanity and your lies? I'm violent? We'll see who's violent, and we'll see who's here when it's all over. Don't mess with me. Do not mess with me. Do not. Okay, let's bring up some other wingnut. Okay, well, wait, here's a good wingnut. Here's a good one. No, they have no backbone. You want to know something, everybody? I'm not a violent person. What I am is a passionate person, okay? I used to be a fighter. I will always be honest about that. I used to fucking throw down and kick ass and do all of that nonsense. And I did some really bad stuff in my life. I am really always owning up to that. But today, in this part of my life, I am not a violent person. I am a peaceful person who wants to create change in a way that sustains all of us. All of us. I am not violent. That is upsetting to me. I worked hard on my bad temper. Okay. And I am now today very happy to say that I have it under a lot of control. It comes out more like this than it does like this. But let me tell you, do not push me. Do not. I am not fearful of any of you. Okay. Any of you. None. Zero. I will not shut up. I will not tolerate this insanity. I will not tolerate you putting your grubby little hands on children because you have 1 year of transition and cut your boobs off, and now you think you're trans. Sit down. Watch this one. This one is totally fascinating.
On this planet who...
Watch.
Also, was I the last person on this planet to find out that Buck Angel is a huge dumpster fire of a person? Damn.
Says the green-haired monster. Now I'm a dumpster fire, and they were the last. So that one was literally trolling the F out of me on TikTok. I finally had to go and block that one because I'm a dumpster fire. It's just so hilarious. Okay, well, I actually want to show you this one because this one really is upsetting to me. I'll be honest with you. I don't. This person, I had to go and look it up to see what was happening here because at first I thought it was real. Okay, at first I thought this is very sad to me, and then I read the comments and I was like, what? Oh my God, this is so insane. So I'm just going to give you a little context before I put it up here. This person is lying. This person is an actual trans man, okay, a young trans male, pretending that they are detransitioning to make fun of detransitioners. I just can't even believe it. It's so pathetic. Watch this.
Detransitioning. I basically feel like my doctors forced me to transition. I mean, all I had to do was go in there for multiple visits and say that I was suicidal with my birth gender, had absolutely no attachment to my birth gender, wanted to transition socially and take medication for it, specifically hormones. I listed exactly everything I expected from hormones. They told me all the risks, problems, and complications I could have from taking hormones and their permanent effects. I had to sign an informed consent form. So basically, they forced me to transition, which I'm really unhappy about. So I'm actually going to detransition. And I mean, that's kind of on them. Like, how would you let me sign a consent form? Like, why would you let me do that? I mean, doesn't make much sense. So now I have to deal with the permanent consequences. So I will be detransitioning thanks to my doctors.
Wow. Wow. That person is completely making that up and making fun of people who have put themselves in a position they should have never put themselves in. And this young trans man thinks it's funny. He doesn't even understand the privilege he has, which is a real thing, to transition today. And he doesn't even understand how messed up it is that other people are taking that same path. I consider that very narcissistic, and I consider that so damaging and so toxic and so pathetic and so disgusting. So basically what he did is he took the words of either one or so detransitioner, because that's what they pretty much are saying, that they wish they had more pushback. They wish that the doctors didn't just make it so easy for them. So he's just emulating what they're saying as a joke. I just can't even believe it. This is the stuff that's pissing me off. That's not a real trans man, by the way, either. When you start making fun of people in our community that have possibly made a wrong choice, you're not truly trans, because as far as I'm concerned, you're only concerned with yourself. You don't care about community, and you don't care about other people. You only care about yourself. And this guy proves it to me. He doesn't care. He only cares about his own path. And he doesn't see the consequences of detransitioners. He only sees that they are a threat to his ability to become trans. You know that, right? That's why they're doing that. He's doing that because he's threatened, not because he cares, not because he feels empathy, because he feels threatened by detransitioners. That should tell you everything about these young people. That shows me that you're not secure enough in your own transition to feel bad for the people who should not be transitioning. You understand what I'm saying? And that's why I won't stand for this bullshit anymore. How dare you make fun of detransitioners, little one? How dare you think it's funny? And how dare you have the privilege to have your chest removed because you get to have that opportunity? Why? Why do you think you get to have that opportunity, little one? Do you think it just came out of nowhere? Or do you think people before you worked in order to get that space made for you? Do you? Or do you think it just magically appeared like everything else magically appeared? That's the problem with a lot of the young people. They don't know where they're coming from. They don't know the privileges they have. They don't know any of it. It's entitlement, 100% entitlement. I'll do one more here. Let me see. And then oh God, this one really freaks me out. I don't know why this one freaks me out, but this one kind of freaks me out a little bit. And again, no way, shape, or form am I making fun. I'm posting these to show you the insanity that has become trans. And there are many people in this community who are not trans. They're fetishists. They're seeking something. They have maybe some comorbidities going on, and they're seeking to belong to something. But this one, I believe, is more of a fetishist, okay? And this one has taken the trans community on as a fetishist, okay? Yeah, I know, Rio. I'm totally aware of Folks and Plume, and I'm working on something that they should be illegal. Both of those companies should be illegal. They're seeking attention, Miss Drool. Yeah. Okay, so let's do this one.
How would you know?
Watch this.
How would you know? As if you could ever sleep with a fabulous.
So wait, it says up there, I don't know if you can read it, but it says you're not a woman. Okay. So I just want to give you that context. Okay. I'll talk about plume real here. One second. Watch.
But if you want independent third-party verification, here's my wife.
What the fuck?
I was definitely not a woman.
Bullshit. I'm sorry, but she's more of a woman than I actually am. And I can sleep with her every night, so.
Nice try.
Oh my God. I mean, my mind is blown. Oh my God. My mind is blown. What? Oh my God. I mean, you know, come on, man. Really? Oh my God. How can we not all laugh at that? No, you're not a woman. Just so you know, you're not a woman. You don't look like a woman. Just because your wife said you're more of a woman than she is, it's also kind of actually insane that her own wife, her own biological female wife, said she's more of a woman than she is. Wow, really? Talk about throwing women under the bus. When other women are throwing a jump scare, when other women are throwing other women under the bus, I don't have any time for you. You're an idiot. You're an actual idiot. That is not a woman, by the way. That is a man. And that man wants to maybe be a woman, but that man is also fetishizing women. That is not a trans woman. That is an actual AGP fetishizing man who wants to wear women's clothes and do whatever the heck they want to do to get off. And I don't care if you don't like what I'm saying. I really don't care. That's the reality of it. We've got to get back to being able to speak reality. If I hurt your feelings, go fucking somewhere else. But I'm not here to make sure your feelings are okay. I'm here to get us back into a space where people respect trans people. But they're not going to fucking respect trans people when this shit is out there, okay? When this shit is out there saying they're trans, people look at me like that. And I don't want to be connected to that because that is not me. I'm not fetishizing men. I want to be a man. Big difference. Big difference. I don't sexualize myself. I have a hard time being a biological female who wants to be a man. It's not easy, but I make the effort so that you all can see me as a man. Do you think this person right here is making the same effort that I'm making? Do you? Because I can tell you right now, let me give this person a little couple tips here. Okay, sweetie, here's what you need to do. You need to get a wig, okay? Because I don't know what's up with the balding half hairdo, okay? Because that's not very female. Number one, get a wig. Number two, maybe lower or higher your voice a little bit. Maybe have a little bit less aggression in the way you're moving towards the camera. And maybe somebody will think of you as a woman. Not sure, but it's just a little tidbit there from an old tranny. You're not making an effort. Means to me you're not trans. Every single trans person I know wants to look like a man or a woman, okay? You look like a clown. You're acting like a clown, and you're fetishizing women. Stop it. Just stop it. I don't care. This is sick and wrong, and we've got to distinguish and push away from that. I don't want to be with that, okay? I don't want you to see me as part of that. And do you know every community has a split? Do you know that? Every community. There's no way every community, everyone gets along unless it's a cult, okay? But every community, I don't care. You can name any community out there. Any community out there. Hey, Julian, nice to see you, buddy. I want to interview you. So send me an email. So listen, I'm going to go here soon, but listen, every community has its ups and downs, splits, factions, all of it. So you've got to understand, so does the trans community. We don't all get along. We don't like each other. We have different ways of being. There are differences in many of us, but that is not trans. That is AGP fetishizing women. Period. You don't like it? I don't care. Seriously, shut up. Go make your own YouTube channel and go make your own space to talk. This is mine and ours. And we're allowed to have these conversations, whether you like it or not. Go talk shit about me on the internet. That's the thing. Here's what makes you
Was I
all
the
happy.
last person on this planet to find out that Buck Angel is a huge dumpster fire?
So there you go. There you go. You got your own platform to call me all the names in the world. Call me whatever you need to do. Stay in your lane. Don't come on my space here and tell me that what I'm doing is transphobic when what you're doing is transphobic. That's going to end it for today, kids. Thank you so much. I appreciate you all. You know I have passion for what I do. It's not anger, okay? I refuse to let these wingnuts take over something that many of us older people have built in order to have a fine, secure, loving life, which I have. So let me ask you this before we go. If somebody was trying to break into your house and take everything you've bought and built and had and burn your house down, what would you do? What would you do? Everyone put an answer here. A quick answer. What would you do? Would you fight back? Would you make sure they didn't get in your house and take everything and burn it down? Would you do everything and anything you could do to make sure that didn't happen? That's right. Every single one of you would do exactly what I'm doing. That's what I want you to see. And I know that you know that. But my passion is not toxic. My passion is because my house means something to me. I built this house from the ground up. Okay? I built my foundation a couple times over in order for it to be stable and strong. I added everything in my house because it's mine. This is my house. And you can't take it from me, no matter what. So I know you all know what I'm talking about. You would never let somebody take what you built, ever. You would fight them back. And that's because the community put me in this position. They tried to oust me. They tried to remove me. They tried to call me names. They tried to hide me. They tried to silence me. They tried to beat me up. And they tried to kill me. Here I am. And you made a big mistake by not letting us have different opinions and ways of being. So now you got to deal with it. Love you all. I'll see you guys on Wednesday. I got a new video coming up here. Seth is putting it up right now, a new interview. I think you'll love it. I got some really awesome, great interviews coming up. You guys can always send emails and ask me to respond to or to do some reaction videos on maybe some other subject matters that you want. I'm going to be creating a new reaction video later today about the insanity of it all. And I mean, I just go on TikTok and I find it all. It's like, what? I don't even really need to even dig that hard. It's like, are you kidding? Are you kidding? Are you kidding? It's unbelievable. Anyway, it makes great content. So I'll see you all later. And let me just make sure that I got to see all of you. Thank you all so much. Thank you all so much for all of these. Thank you, Hassar. I do appreciate you so much. Thank you for having the same passion. Thank you. That's right. If hormones change biology, come on, man. We've got to get back. And I'm going to welcome our new member. Thank you, Michael. I appreciate you all so much. I'll see you guys on the next one. And I'm sending you tons and tons of love. Stay passionate. Stay passionate. Seriously. It's a big